Muscle cars from the 60s. These were cars that didn't just drive, but roared in a way that would wake up even the soundest sleeper in the neighborhood. Huge engines, crazy power, and hair-raising speeds. Alright, let's go. 1. Pontiac GTO in 1964. When we think about the birth of muscle cars, the Pontiac GTO is often the first name that comes up. The 1964 GTO didn't just follow the trends of the time, it started them. Pontiac took a relatively standard Tempest and threw in a powerful 389 cubic inch V8 engine, launching it into a category all its own. This car became a symbol of speed and rebellion, resonating with anyone who wanted a fast, aggressive vehicle that could still be used for daily driving. Now, let's talk about how this all plays out in the real world. If you were to take one of these GTOs for a spin today, you'd instantly feel how its power and that glorious V8 growl can still put a smile on your face. It's a visceral experience. But if you're looking to buy or restore one, be prepared for the fact that finding an original GTO is no small feat. These cars were built for speed, but they weren't necessarily built to last forever. Rust is a common issue, and parts can be hard to come by. Still, if you put in the effort, restoring a 1964 GTO is like bringing a piece of automotive history back to life. The satisfaction of driving it again, knowing you've brought something iconic back from the brink, is truly unmatched. 2. Chevrolet Corvette Stingray 427-1967. The 1967 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray 427 is, quite frankly, one of the most legendary cars to ever come out of the 1960s. With a 427 cubic inch V8, the Corvette had speed in spades, but it wasn't just a speed machine, it was a work of art. The design of the 1967 Stingray was cutting edge, with smooth curves and aggressive angles, and it was built to cut through the air like a knife. If you're fortunate enough to get behind the wheel of one today, it's more than just a car, it's an experience. Driving a 1967 Stingray is a visceral connection between man and machine. The road feels different under the tires, the handling is precise, and that engine, it doesn't just make noise, it makes a statement. In the real world, owning one of these cars today means dealing with a high collector's value. These cars are expensive, but with the right care and investment, they can become an appreciating asset. If you're looking to restore a Stingray, focus on the frame and bodywork, as rust and wear are common issues. The engine's the star of the show, but the condition of the body can make or break the value. 3. Dodge Charger R/T 426 Hemi 1968. The 1968 Dodge Charger R/T is one of those cars that exudes power. The 426 Hemi engine was an absolute beast of a motor. It wasn't just about how fast it could go in a straight line. The Charger was also built for handling. It was a car that could take on corners with ease, while still being fast enough to beat almost anything on the road. If you're lucky enough to own or drive one of these today, you'll quickly realize that it's not just about the speed, it's about that deep, throaty engine sound that makes people stop and stare. It's a car that demands attention, but restoring one of these classics, that's a project. Finding Hemi parts can be tricky and expensive, and if you're buying one, make sure to check the undercarriage for rust. Many Chargers of this age suffer from body rot, but the effort involved in restoring one of these vehicles is well worth it. The Charger's place in muscle car history, plus its timeless appeal, makes it a rewarding investment for anyone passionate about classic cars. 4. Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 1969. The 1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 is a car that wasn't just built to be fast, it was built to be a competitor. With a 427 cubic inch V8 producing 430 horsepower, the ZL1 was a rare, track-ready version of the Camaro. Unlike the regular Camaro, this model was stripped of excess weight to boost performance. Only 69 units of the ZL1 were ever made, making it one of the rarest muscle cars in history. Today, the ZL1 is one of the most desirable muscle cars to restore. If you come across one, you're not just buying a car, you're purchasing a piece of automotive history. The ZL1's rarity means it's a prized possession, and owning one is a matter of pride for collectors. The downside is that it can be extremely expensive, and because of the limited production, original parts are difficult to find. If you're restoring one, it's important to focus on authenticity. It's easy to find aftermarket parts that improve performance, but to keep the car's value intact, you'll need to hunt down those original components, especially for the engine and suspension. 5. Shelby GT500 1967. The 1967 Shelby GT500 was more than just a modified Mustang, it was a statement. With a 428 cubic inch V8 engine under the hood, this was a car built for high performance. But what made the GT500 stand out wasn't just its power, it was its combination of speed, luxury, and handling. This wasn't just a muscle car, it was a car you could cruise in, turn heads with, and still have the power to leave almost everything behind. When you drive a 1967 Shelby GT500, you quickly realize that it's not just about how fast fast it can go. It's about the way it makes you feel. The engine hums with authority, and the car responds to every move you make. For anyone looking to restore a Shelby GT500 today, remember that originality matters. While modern modifications can improve performance, keeping the original parts will not only preserve the car's value, but also its true essence. Make sure to check the suspension and transmission, as these cars were built for speed and sometimes endured tough use in their prime. 6. Ford Mustang Boss 429-1969. The 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429 is one of the rarest Mustangs to ever hit the streets, and for good reason. Powered by a massive 429 V8, the Boss 429 was built with one goal in mind: to dominate the racing world. The car's engine was specially designed for NASCAR, and that racing pedigree made it a powerhouse both on the track and off it. If you're restoring a Boss 429, you're taking on one of the most coveted muscle cars of all time. But this car wasn't just about raw power, it was a beautifully crafted machine. From its aggressive front end to its rear axle, the Boss 429 was designed to handle just about anything. Finding a Boss 429 today is a challenge in itself, as they are few and far between. And when you find one, expect to pay a premium for it. But the restoration process is part of the thrill. Make sure you're getting authentic parts, as the value of a restored Boss 429 can skyrocket if done right. 7. Shelby Cobra 427-1965. The Shelby Cobra 427 from 1965 isn't just a muscle car, it's an engineering marvel. With its lightweight frame and powerful 427 V8 engine, the Cobra could go from 0 to 60 faster than you could blink. It wasn't about brute force, it was about agility, precision, and speed. This car wasn't designed for comfort, it was designed to go fast, handle beautifully, and turn heads wherever it went. Restoring a Shelby Cobra 427 today is no small feat. This car was built for racing, and while its power and handling make it one of the most thrilling cars to drive, finding original parts can be tough. If you're lucky enough to own one of these, you're not just owning a car, you're owning a slice of automotive history. And when you get that Cobra on the road, there's nothing quite like it. Every drive is a reminder of the ingenuity and passion that went into its creation. 8. Pontiac GTO Tri-Power 1966. The Pontiac GTO Tri-Power from 1966 is one of those cars that's built for pure performance. With its 3 two-barrel carburetors, the GTO Tri-Power had more power and better throttle response than the standard GTO. It wasn't just fast, it was smooth, with an engine that delivered an unmatched driving experience. If you're thinking about restoring one of these, you'll quickly realize that the Tri-Power setup is one of the most sought-after features. The 3 carburetors can be a challenge to find in good condition, but when you track them down, you'll unlock the true power of the GTO. Restoring one of these cars isn't just about fixing up a classic, it's about experiencing the joy of driving a car that's built to thrill. 9. Plymouth Roadrunner 426 Hemi 1968. The Plymouth Roadrunner 426 Hemi was the definition of muscle. With its Hemi engine, it had the kind of power that could make anyone feel like a racing driver. The Roadrunner wasn't just about brute strength though, it was about an attitude. It was a car that made a statement the moment it started up. When you drive a Roadrunner, the first thing you notice is the sound of the Hemi engine. It's loud, aggressive, and it commands attention. Restoring a Roadrunner today is about bringing that raw power back to life. The Hemi engine is a thing of beauty, but it requires careful attention. If you're restoring one, make sure to check the engine for wear, as these cars were built for power and weren't always treated gently in their heyday. 10. Dodge Charger Daytona 1969. The Dodge Charger Daytona was built for one reason: speed. Designed with aerodynamics in mind, the Daytona had a nose cone and rear wing that made it one of the most distinctive muscle cars of all time. This was a car built for breaking records on the NASCAR circuit, but it wasn't just for the track, it was also a street car that could dominate any road. Restoring the Charger Daytona today means dealing with rare, hard-to-find parts. The front nose cone and rear wing are crucial to the car's design, and tracking down authentic components can be a challenge. But once you've completed the restoration, you'll have a car that's as fast as it is iconic. If you ever get the chance to drive one, you'll understand why it's considered one of the most significant muscle cars ever built. These cars weren't just machines, they were symbols of a generation, representing power, innovation, and the thrill of driving. Whether you're restoring one or dreaming of owning one, these legendary muscle cars continue to captivate and inspire. And when you get behind the wheel of one, you're not just experiencing a car, you're experiencing history. These cars weren't just machines, they were symbols of a generation, representing power, innovation, and the thrill of driving. Whether you're restoring one or dreaming of owning one, these legendary muscle cars continue to captivate and inspire. And when you get behind the wheel of one, you're not just experiencing a car, you're experiencing history.